The stadium lights flickered on like accusatory eyes, casting long shadows across the rain-slicked turf where I just slammed into the goalpost, my shoulder screaming in protest. "Faggot!" Coach Harlan bellowed from the sidelines, his voice slicing through the downpour, not at the missed tackle but at me, as if my existence had cost us the championship. In that instant, with the crowd's roar turning to murmurs of disgust, I knew my secret wasn't safe anymore. It was a grenade, and someone had pulled the pin. I remember the exact moment it detonated. Halftime whistle, locker room thick with the stench of wet cleats and teenage bravado. My best friend, ex-best friend now, Tyler, the quarterback who'd sworn we'd go pro together, grabbed my jersey and shoved me against the lockers. "You think we didn't see you with that city kid at prom? Kissing him like some queer fairy tale?" His words weren't just betrayal. They were a eulogy for the brother I'd thought he was, delivered with the same precision he threw spirals. The team froze, eyes darting like cornered animals, and in the silence, my heart didn't break. It shattered, shards embedding in every dream I'd built on this field. By dawn, the fallout had spread like wildfire through Elmwood High. Principal Whitaker called me into his office, his face a mask of false sympathy, papers clutched like a noose. "Alex, we've had complaints. Parents, coaches. It's disrupting the team dynamic. We're transferring you to Ridgeview Academy effective immediately. Consider it a fresh start." Fresh start? It was exile, plain and simple, for daring to be different in a town where football was God and love like mine was heresy. That was 2 years ago, in the sticky summer of 2023, when I was 17 and Elmwood, Ohio still felt like home. Ohio's Rust Belt heartland, where cornfields stretched like golden promises under endless skies, and Friday nights meant bonfires and the crack of helmets under floodlights. I'd grown up idolizing the Elmwood Eagles, same as my dad had before me. He was the star running back in '89, the one who proposed to Mom on the 50-yard line after state finals. Football wasn't just a game. It was our bloodline, the thread stitching our fractured family together. Dad worked double shifts at the auto plant, coming home with grease-blackened hands and stories of glory days. Mom waitressed at the diner, her laughter a rare melody amid the clatter of plates. And me, Alex Harlan, no relation to the coach, thank God. I was the golden boy, the wide receiver with hands like magnets and a smile that could charm the refs. Until I couldn't hide anymore. Coming out hadn't been a choice. It was survival. It started with Jamie, the exchange student from Seattle, all sharp wit and ocean blue eyes, who saw through my performative straight guy act like it was tissue paper. We'd met in AP Lit, bonding over Kerouac's Open Roads and the ache of unspoken truths. One night, after a study session that stretched into stolen kisses under the bleachers, I whispered it to him. "This is me, all of me." He kissed me back, fierce and affirming, and for the first time, I breathed easy. But Elmwood wasn't Seattle. Word got out. Tyler's jealousy, a leaked Snapchat, whispers in the halls, and suddenly, I was the villain in my own story. The transfer to Ridgeview was a blur of cardboard boxes and tear-streaked goodbyes. Mom cried in the kitchen, clutching her rosary like it could exorcise the shame. "Alex, baby, it's not forever. Just pray on it. God don't make mistakes, but folks here, they do." Dad? He didn't look at me, just packed my duffel with jerky silence, his disappointment heavier than any tackle. Coach Harlan pulled strings for the disruption, but it was the team that gutted me. Tyler unfollowed me on Insta that night, the Eagles group chat exploding with memes that twisted my face into caricatures of deviance. I left with nothing but a backpack, a beat-up Ford Escort from Grandma, and a rage that simmered like road tar under the August sun. Ridgeview Academy was an hour east, tucked in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, a progressive bubble where kids like me weren't anomalies. It was co-ed, artsy, with a soccer team that played more for joy than glory. I traded shoulder pads for cleats, the roar of crowds for the quiet thrill of strategy. And there, in the crisp fall air of my senior year, I found Elias. Elias Rivera was the goalie, a Puerto Rican transplant with sun-kissed skin and a laugh that echoed like church bells. He had this way of reading the field and people like a poet deciphers sonnets. We met during tryouts, me fumbling a pass, him diving to save it with effortless grace. "Nice try, newbie," he grinned, tossing the ball back, his dark eyes sparkling with mischief. "But if you're gonna miss, at least make it dramatic." I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. That spark? It ignited something dormant, a warmth I'd forgotten existed. Our romance unfolded like a slow-burn indie flick, all stolen glances in the cafeteria and late-night texts quoting Ginsberg. Elias was out and proud, his family a tapestry of acceptance. Two moms who'd fled the Bronx for greener pastures, teaching him that love was a revolution, not a relic. With him, I learned to hold hands in public, to kiss under string lights at homecoming without flinching. "You're not broken, Alex," he'd murmur against my temple, his fingers tracing the scars on my knuckles from old fights. Fights with mirrors, mostly. "You're the hero who walked through fire." God, he made me believe it. But Elmwood haunted me. Letters from Mom arrived sporadically, scented with vanilla and veiled apologies. "Your father's adjusting. The team's undefeated without you. Tyler's throwing lights out." Each one twisted the knife. Dad never wrote. And the news clippings Tyler's mom sent. Eagles marching toward playoffs. Stoked a fire I couldn't douse. I missed the grind, the brotherhood, the way the field felt like flying. Ridgeview was safe, but safety can feel like a cage when your roots are pulling you back. By spring 2025, with graduation looming, the universe conspired a reckoning. The Eagles were hosting the state semifinals against Ridgeview's soccer team. No, wait, that was irony's cruel joke. Turns out, Ridgeview had a sister school alliance with a nearby football powerhouse, but fate twisted harder. Elmwood was playing in a charity all-star game at the old stadium, inviting alumni and rivals for a Unity Bowl. Elias saw the flyer first, tacked to the bulletin board. "This your old haunt?" he asked, eyebrow arched. I nodded, throat tight. "Wanna go? Show 'em what they lost." I wanted to burn it all down. But Elias? He saw the poetry in return, the chance for catharsis. "Not to fight," he said, cupping my face. "To heal. Or at least to remind them heroes don't vanish, they evolve." So we planned it. I'd return, not as the scared kid, but as Alex Harlan 2.0, arm in arm with the man who rebuilt me. The drive back to Elmwood was a time warp, cornfields blurring into memories. Elias drove, his hand on my thigh a steady anchor, while I white-knuckled the playlist. Springsteen wailing about Born to Run ghosts. Mom had texted, "Heard you're coming. Dad's coaching. Be kind." Kind? After they let me go without a fight? But Elias squeezed my leg. "Breathe, mi amor. This is your victory lap." We rolled into town at dusk, the air thick with barbecue smoke and the hum of cicadas. The stadium loomed like a colossus, banners fluttering. Eagles soar forever. Parking lot buzzed with tailgates. Dads in Letterman jackets, moms in Eagles hoodies, kids waving foam fingers. And there, under the goalpost where it all shattered, stood Tyler, All-American poster boy, arms slung around a cheerleader, his eyes locking on mine across the gravel. "Harlan?" he called, voice a mix of shock and something softer. "Regret?" He jogged over, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. Elias tensed beside me, but I stepped forward, chin up. "Yeah, me." Tyler's gaze flicked to Elias, then back, calculating. "Heard you switch to kicks and rainbows. Fitting." The jab landed, but I parried. "Fitting how? Like you, pretending life's a straight line." His jaw clenched, but before he could retort, Coach Harlan's whistle pierced the air. "Harlan, get over here, captain's huddle." The huddle was a viper's nest. Veterans barking plays, Coach's eyes drilling into me like I was a ghost. "Thought you'd bailed for good, son. But if you're here to play, prove it. Alumni scrimmage starts in 10. Play?" My blood sang. Elias nodded from the bleachers, his smile a beacon. "Go on," he mouthed. "Show them." The turf under my cleats felt like absolution, the ball a familiar lover in my hands. First play. Tyler's hike, my route crisp, cut left, spiral arcing perfect into my chest. Touchdown. The alumni cheered, but the varsity side? Stone silence, broken only by Coach's grunt. "Not bad. For a has-been." Halftime blurred into strategy sessions. Old teammates slapping my back tentatively. Whispers of, "Missed your fire, man." Tyler avoided me, but I caught him watching, envy in his stance. Then the clash ignited. Post-scrimmage, as fireworks cracked overhead, Dad emerged from the shadows, beer in hand, face etched with the lines of unspoken wars. "Alex." One word heavy as an anvil. Mom hovered behind, eyes pleading. "Son, we need to talk." Elias stood sentinel, but I waved him off. This was mine. We retreated to the family truck, the cab a confessional of cracked vinyl and regret. "You left," I said, voice steady. "When they ran me out, you let them. For what? The team? The town?" Dad's knuckles whitened on the wheel. "It wasn't that simple, boy. Football's our legacy. Coming out. It split us. Your ma cried for weeks. I worked doubles to forget." Forget? The word was acid. "You forgot me. The kid who made state with a sprained ankle, who idolized you. But love? That was too much." Mom sobbed then, reaching for my hand. "We were scared, Alex. Scared of losing you to the world. But losing you to silence. That's hell." Dad stared at the dashboard, tears carving tracks in the dust. "I was wrong. Seeing you out there tonight. Strong, whole. It hit me. You're my son. Eagle through and through. Gay or not." The dam broke. I pulled him into a hug, the kind that mends fences with salt and sweat, his apologies tumbling like loose change. "I'm proud," he choked. "Prouder than any championship." But Tyler? His betrayal lingered, a thorn in the rose. As we spilled back into the lot, he cornered us by the bonfire, flames dancing like accusatory spirits. "So, this your new life? Parading with him?" He jerked his chin at Elias, who stiffened but held his ground. The team gathered, a semicircle of tension, Coach Harlan looming like a judge. "Parading," I laughed, bitter. "This is living, Ty. What you fear." He lunged then. Not a punch, but a shove, raw with 2 years of buried guilt. "You think you can just waltz back? After ruining us?" Ruining. The word ignited the powder keg. Elias stepped in, voice calm as a diplomat. "He didn't ruin anything. You did by choosing hate over heart." Tyler's face crumpled, fists unclenching. I was scared too, man. Dad said it'd end my scholarship. But watching you go, it gutted me." The admission hung fragile as ash. Coach Harlan cleared his throat. The crowd hushed. "Enough. This ain't the field for brawls. Tyler, you're benched next game. Alex, you're always an Eagle. Badge or no." The team erupted, not in cheers, but murmurs of solidarity. One by one, they approached. The lineman who'd ghosted me, now clapping my shoulder. The kicker, slipping me his number. "We were idiots," he muttered. "Won't happen again." Tyler lingered last, eyes downcast. "Forgive me." I pulled him into a bro hug, the kind that says blood's thicker than bigotry. "We're good. But next time, pass better." As fireworks faded to embers, Elias and I walked the field, hands intertwined, the stars a canopy of forgiveness. Elmwood wasn't perfect. Small towns rarely are. But in that clash of family and team, we'd forged something unbreakable. A legacy not of touchdowns, but of truth. Dad joined us, arm around my shoulders, Mom linking with Elias like he'd always been kin. "Welcome home, son," Dad said, and for the first time it felt true. We drove out at midnight, windows down, wind whipping our laughter into the night. Ridgeview awaited diplomas and dreams, but Elmwood? It was the scar that taught me to fly. Love isn't a battlefield. It's the victory dance after, messy and magnificent, under American skies that hold room for us all. Looking back, that night wasn't the end. It was the hinge, swinging open doors I'd bolted shut. Elias and I crossed into Pennsylvania with the radio crooning Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. Ironic and apt, his head on my shoulder as the miles unspooled. "You were magnificent," he said, fingers lacing mine, "like a storm that clears the air." I kissed his temple, tasting salt and stardust. Magnificent? I'd felt exposed, raw as a fresh bruise, but his words wrapped me like a championship blanket. Ridgeview greeted us with its quirky charm. Ivy-cloaked dorms, a coffee shop called Bean There, where baristas knew your order and your pronouns. Soccer practice started at dawn the next day, my legs leaden from the emotional marathon, but Elias's grin pulled me through drills. Focus, Harlan. Eyes on the goal, not the ghosts. He was right. The pitch was my therapy, each sprint an exorcism of Elmwood's echoes. Classes resumed in a haze of normalcy. Calc with Mr. Patel's dry wit. Lit where we dissected Baldwin's essays on love's quiet rebellions. Elias and I carved out rituals. Tuesday tacos at the food truck, his abuelita's recipe spicy enough to singe regrets. Sunday hikes in the Appalachians, where we'd perch on boulders and trade vulnerabilities like trading cards. What's your biggest fear? He'd ask, wind tousling his curls. Not being enough, I'd admit. For him, for Dad, for the Alex I was becoming. He'd counter with his own, fading into the background, like my mom's did, fighting for every inch. Our scars mirrored, deepening the bond. But homecomings stir sediments, and mine resurfaced in waves. Mom's calls turned daily, laced with updates. Tyler's apologizing left and right. Sent you a care package of that awful beef jerky you love. Dad texted photos, grainy stadium shots, captioned your spot's empty. Fill it soon. It warmed me, but wariness lingered. Trust rebuilds slow, like a quarterback's arm after a tear. The first real test came mid-semester, when Ridgeview hosted a diversity dialogue panel. Elias dragged me on stage, our story slotted between a trans activist's firebrand speech and a bi professor's gentle anecdotes. I froze under the spotlight, microphone slick in my palm. How do you forgive those who exile you? The moderator prompted. My voice cracked at first, then steadied. You don't, not fully, but you show up anyway. For the kid you were, and the ones still hiding. Applause thundered, Elias's eyes shining from the wings. That night, tangled in his sheets, he whispered, You're changing the world, one story at a time. Love, I learned, isn't grand gestures. It's the quiet revolution of being seen. Spring bloomed with promise. Prom invites etched in gold, graduation caps ordered with rainbow tassels. Elias and I plotted a road trip post-diploma. Route 66, chasing sunsets from Chicago to Santa Monica, a gay odyssey to etch our names in neon. No small towns, he joked, just big horizons. But Elmwood pulled, insistent as gravity. Dad called one rainy April evening. State finals next month. Come coach the alumni booth. Show these pups how it's done. Coach Harlan's olive branch routed through family ties. I hesitated, Elias's brow furrowing. Is it safe? Or just masochism? It was both. I went solo this time, telling Elias, this is closure, not chains. The stadium thrummed with electric anticipation, banners snapping in the breeze, the scent of hot dogs and fresh-cut grass a narcotic pull. Tyler greeted me at the gate, broader now, scholarship patch on his sleeve. Coach says you're running drills. Don't go easy. We laughed, the old rhythm resurfacing tentative but true. On the sidelines, barking routes to wide-eyed freshmen, I felt the ghost of my younger self dissolve, replaced by a man who knew his worth wasn't measured in yards gained. Dad watched from the stands, pride etching new lines on his face. Halftime, he joined me, clapping my back. You're a natural, son. Better than me. We talked then, really talked, about his own hidden doubts in the 80s, the AIDS crisis shadowing his youth, how fear had armored him against vulnerability. I pushed you away to protect you, he admitted. Stupidest thing I ever did. Tears stung, but they were cleansing, salt on wounds finally scarring over. The Eagles clinched victory in overtime. Tyler's game winner a spiral that kissed the end zone like fate. Post-game, the team swarmed me, jerseys swapped in a frenzy of forgiveness. Even Coach Harlan grunted approval. Harlan blood runs deep. Don't be a stranger. As I drove back, windows fogged with emotion, I texted Elias, I'm free. Summer unfurled lazy and luminous. Elias and I crashed at his mom's lake house. Days spent kayaking, nights in hammock stargazing. His family enveloped me. Abuela's empanadas, Tia Rose's tarot readings predicting a love that outruns the wind. For the first time, I belonged without apology. We prepped for the road trip, maps marked with diners and detours, playlists heavy on queer anthems. Chapman, Lambert, that one Hosier track that made Elias blush. But betrayal's shadow loomed, subtle as a fumble. It started with a letter from Tyler, slipped into my Ridgeview P.O. box. Hey man, got your number from your dad. Scholarship scouts coming to camp. Need your routes? Old-time sake. I shared them. Nostalgic fool that I was. Elias rolling his eyes fondly. Don't let him pull you back. Then whispers. Elmwood forums buzzing about. That gay kid coaching. Laced with barbs. I shrugged it off, water under the bridge. Until the call from Mom. Voice trembling. Alex, honey. Tyler's hurt. Bad. Practice scrimmage. Torn ACL. Scouts saw it all. My stomach dropped. What happened? Slipped on a wet route. The one you diagrammed. Coach is blaming. Everything. Blaming me? The accusation hung unspoken, but it clawed. I raced back, Elias insisting on shotgun. We're in this together. Elmwood's R was a fluorescent purgatory, beeps and bleach assaulting the senses. Tyler lay pale, leg braced, eyes hollow. Alex, he rasped as I entered. Elias a quiet sentinel. It was my fault. Pushed too hard, chasing your ghost. But Coach Harlan burst in, face thunderous. Your ghost? Boy, you fed him those plays knowing the fields tore up. Distraction, that's what you are. The room iced. Dad intervened, voice steel. Enough, Harlan. Alex is family. The clash escalated in the waiting room, team parents clustering like storm clouds. He's cursed us, one muttered. The same woman who'd baked me cookies pre-exile. Elias bristled, but I stepped up. Cursed? I gave what was asked. If that's distraction, then your hate's the real injury. Tyler's mom, ever the peacemaker, pulled me aside. He's broken, Alex. Not just the leg, the dream. Forgive the town's folly. I did, in fragments. Visited Tyler daily, smuggling contraband comics, rebuilding bridges with bedside banter. Elias charmed the nurses, his empathy a bomb. Dad and Coach brokered a truce, joint PT sessions, me assisting, proving loyalty beyond labels. You're an eagle, Coach conceded one dusk, sunset gilding the field. Wings and all. By fall, Tyler walked with a limp but fire undimmed. Scholarship deferred but not denied. We texted routes again, this time with caveats and care. Elias and I hit the road as planned, odometer ticking toward infinity, his hand in mine a compass. To new horizons, he toasted at our first sunset stop, Route 66 unfurling like promise. Elmwood faded to a fond scar, family and team no longer foes but facets of the mosaic. Love, I realized, isn't absence of conflict. It's the courage to clash and emerge whole. Under vast American skies, from Ohio's heart to California's edge, I ran not from, but toward, myself, Elias, a future unbound. The road trip was our manifesto, a ribbon of asphalt etched with manifestos of the heart. We kicked off from a greasy spoon in Joliet, Illinois, pancakes drowning in syrup as thick as nostalgia. Elias snapped Polaroids. Me mid-bite, syrup mustache absurd, caption sweet start to forever. I laughed, the sound foreign yet fitting, like slipping into a well-worn glove. Chicago's skyline loomed next, a steel forest we pierced on rented Harleys, wind howling our anthem. Faster! Elias yelled over the roar, his whoop infectious. We parked at Navy Pier, Ferris wheel lights winking like conspirators, and there, amid cotton candy clouds and lake breeze, he dropped to one knee. Not with a ring, but a mixtape labeled our soundtrack. Marry me? He grinned. Someday, when the world's ready. I pulled him up, kissing him fierce. It's ready now. Westward, the landscape shifted, prairies giving way to mesas, each mile a metaphor for shedding skins. In Tulsa, we crashed a drag brunch, sequins and shade a riotous welcome. Honey, you two are serving main course realness. The queen emceed, crowning us with feather boas. Elias vogued, hips swaying hypnotic. I clapped like a convert, the joy effervescent. That night, motel neon buzzing. We slow danced to the tape, Bowie's Heroes. Our bodies a dialogue of devotion. "You're my North Star," I murmured into his neck. He hummed a scent, hands mapping my spine like Braille. Amarillo's Cadillac Ranch was pilgrimage. Half-buried classics spray-painted in rebel hues. Us adding E plus a forever in electric blue. A Texan trucker paused, mustache twitching. "Y'all queer, blunt as barbed wire." We nodded, braced. He chuckled, tossing us Lone Stars. "Good on ya. World's big enough." Small mercies, but they stacked, building fortitude. The Grand Canyon yawned like a god's scar. Us hiking rim trails at dawn. Air crisp as revelation. Elias traced my palm. "Remember Elmwood's Fields? This is that vast, unyielding, but beautiful in breaks." I nodded, throat tight. There, on a ledge kissed by sunrise, I unloaded the residue. Sometimes I wake dreaming of the shove, Tyler's face twisting. "Fear it's in me too." He cupped my jaw, eyes abyssal. "It's not. You chose grace. That's the win." We jumped the gap. Not literally, but in trust, leaping into tandem freefall of feeling. Santa Monica Pier capped it, ocean vast and velvet, waves whispering absolutions. Saltwater taffy stuck our teeth as we swung on the bench where our grandparents might have necked. "College next," Elias said, Berkeley beckoning for him, me eyeing Ohio State, irony's wink. "Long distance? We'll make it poetry." We did, that summer, a prologue to partitions. Fall quartered us. Elias and Callie Hayes, me in Buckeye Scarlet, dorms echoing with homesick hellos. Texts bridged the breadth. Goodnight sonnets, midnight memes. Dad drove up for my first game. Scarlet jersey swapped for visitors gray. Scout's honor, son, no bias. But his cheers drowned the crowd. Mom FaceTiming from the diner. "Kick butt, baby." OSU's turf was pro-caliber, my routes razor-sharp. But the roar paled to Elmwood's intimacy. Post-win, Dad and I grilled brats in the lot, steam rising like peace pipes. "Proud," he said again, simpler each time. Tyler's updates trickled, PT grinding, but he'd walk on at a D2 school. "Oh, you man," he Skyped, crutch-free grin. We swapped stories, his of rehab rage, mine of coastal calls with Elias. "Love looks good on you," he admitted. "Sorry I dimmed it once." Winter break yanked us east, Elias flying coach for Elmwood's New Year's bash. Mom's tree glittered with ornaments we'd made as kids. Now joined by a rainbow star, Elias hung with flourish. Dad clapped him on the back. "Welcome to the madhouse, son." The eve unfolded in charades and champagne toasts. Tyler arriving fashionably late, date in tow. A soft-spoken artist named Riley, who blushed at Elias's compliments. "Team's evolving," Tyler said, clinking bottles. Even Coach invited a GSA club to the booster meet. Fireworks popped at midnight, but ours brewed subtler. Post-party, Elias and I snuck to the roof, blankets bundled against frost, town twinkling below. "This place grew you," he observed. "Rough, but rooted." I kissed him slow, snowflakes melting on lashes. "And you bloomed me." Vows unspoken, but sealed in starlight. Spring semester surged. Midterms mauling, but victories peppered. OSU's Pride Week. I keynote, from exile to embrace. Standing ovation echoing my return. Elias zoomed in, pixelated pride beaming. Dad sent a care package. Jerky. A handwritten note. "Eagle flies solo, but Flock's got your six." Then, the tremor. May. A call from Tyler's mom, voice fractured. Accident. Drunk driver, Tyler stable, but Riley. Gone. The world tilted. I flew home, Elias rerouting from SFO. Are again, but grimmer. Beeps flatlining hope. Tyler catatonic in a gown. "Why her?" he whispered when I gripped his hand. She was light. I had no answers, just presence. Sitting vigil, Elias fetching coffees, Dad pacing halls like a caged lion. Funeral was a gut punch. Riley's portrait beaming amid lilies, eulogies cracking voices. Tyler spoke last, voice a razor's edge. "She taught me love's no straight path. Twists, turns, but worth the wreck." We buried her under willows, town turning out in quiet solidarity. After, at the wake, Coach Harlan pulled Tyler aside, then me, teams rallying a fund, scholarships in her name. You in? I nodded, the gesture a bridge. Grief glued us tighter. Elias and I drove Tyler to the coast for catharsis. Pacific crashing like unpent thunder. Bonfire that night, waves lapping secrets, Tyler finally fracturing. I pushed you away once, Alex, afraid of difference. Now, it's all I have left of her. We hugged, salt-stung and savage, Elias murmuring, difference is the divine. Summer healed in increments. Elias interning at a queer youth center, me coaching Elmwood camps, kids with wide eyes and wider questions. Can I be gay and an eagle? Hell yes, I'd say. Wings don't discriminate. Dad joined sessions, his gruff tips laced with new grace. Heart's the real muscle. By August, Tyler walked unaided. Riley's scholarship launched with fanfare. First recipient a shy sophomore, out and unafraid. To clashes that birth change. Tyler toasted at the ceremony, eyes on me. Elias squeezed my knee under the table. Your ripple, amor. College loomed, but we'd mapped it. Monthly flights, holidays halved between coasts. Distance tests. Doesn't destroy, Elias promised, packing my bag with his scent on the flannel. At the airport, kiss lingering. I whispered, you're my constant. He grinned, and you're my adventure. As planes parted us, I gazed from the tarmac, Elmwood's fields a distant patchwork. Kicked out once, returned reborn. Family and team, once clashing titans, now chorus to my anthem. Life's no fairy tale. It's the grit between pages, the love that endures the edit. Sophomore year at OSU was a forge, hammering boy into man under autumn's amber hammer. Dorms swapped for an off-campus house with 3 roommates, diverse as a UN summit. Jamal the poli-sci firebrand, Lena the bio whiz with a nose ring, and Finn, the quiet theater kid who baked scones at 3 a.m. They knew my story from the Pride keynote, welcoming me with a fridge stocked in rainbow magnets. Harlan's safe space. Elias's visits were oases. Thanksgiving in Ohio, him charming mom with Eras congandals, Dad grilling him on Buckeye lore. You ever play ball? Dad probed. Elias laughed. Soccer's chess to football's checkers. They bonded over ESPN, unlikely allies. Classes challenged. Psych 301 dissecting identity's labyrinth. Me acing essays on resilience's roots. But the field, varsity wideout now, scouts circling like hawks. Coach Ramirez was a no-nonsense Latina legend. Her pep talks poetry. Play with soul, not just speed. My first start against Michigan. Rivalries roar a thunderclap. I hauled in a 40-yard bomb, stadium erupting. Elias texted from Berkeley, my hero scores. Post-game, locker high-fives felt earned, not inherited. Tyler thrived at his D2 gig, videos of his limping sprints a testament. We gamed weekly online, trash-talking trades in Madden. Riley'd laugh at your defense. He'd quip, the ache softening to honor. Her scholarship bloomed, 3 kids now, each a spark against shadows. Winter break, Elias and I escaped to New York, city that never sleeps mirroring our vigilance. Times Square's blaze, we kissed under billboards, anonymous in the throng. This is us, he said. Unapologetic. Broadway's Rent gutted us, bohemian dreams echoing our defiance. Back in Elmwood for New Year's, the town twinkled transformed. Pride flags on lampposts. Coach Harlan guest speaking at GSA on teamwork beyond the lines. But undercurrents stirred. Dad's plant laid off shifts, stress etching his brow. Economy bites, he shrugged. But I saw the toll. Nights at the bar, Mom's worry lines deepening. I offered loans from my stipend. He waved it off. Earned my keep, son. You focus on yours. Elias sensed the strain during spring break. His spring at a Cali nonprofit honing his empathy. Family's the real team, he said, helping Mom garden. Dirt-caked hands a quiet vow. The betrayal blindsided in April, a sucker punch from left field. Tyler called, voice-edged, scouts at my game. Big league interest. But they asked about you. Old rumors resurfacing. Rumors? In 2025, with progress parading? Turns out, a viral clip from my OSU highlight reel. Me hugging a teammate post-touchdown. Twisted online? Is OSU's star queerbaiting? Trolls swarmed. Elmwood's fringes amplifying. Told you Harlan's curse lingers. Hit dad hardest. A factory buddy forwarded the thread. He confronted me over Easter ham. Fork trembling. Alex, is it true? All this. Show? The doubt sliced deeper than exile. Dad, it's me. Same as always. But his eyes, wary, wounded, betrayed regression. Mom mediated. He's scared of losing you again to hate. Elias, on speaker from afar, urged. Talk it out. Hate thrives in silence. The clash crested at a family dinner turned tribunal. Tyler arrived uninvited. Riley's locket glinting. This crap? Is poison. I shut it down. Posted our story, the real one. His Insta thread went viral. My brother from another playbook. Gay great, and gone too long. Support flooded. Teammates retweeting. Coach Harlan endorsing. Eagles protect their own. Dad cracked then. Tears salting the potatoes. I failed you once. Won't again. We rebuilt over weeks. Him attending my next game. Banner aloft. Proud dad of 7. Elias flew in for the finale. Our reunion a halftime huddle in the stands. His kiss sealing seams. Summer scorched with internships. Me at a Columbus Youth Center, coaching queer kids in flag football. Their glee a mirror to my mending. Elias's nonprofit gig in Oakland, virtual check-ins laced with longing. Miss your chaos, he'd say. Come west. I did, for July, Golden Gate Fog our blanket, Alcatraz tours trading captivity tales. We're free, I affirmed, his nod profound. Fall junior year amped ambitions. Pre-med track for me, psych for Elias, talks of joint apps to Johns Hopkins. Tyler's pro tryout loomed, us betting on his callback. But life lobbed curveballs. A dorm fire singeing my jerseys. Elias's mom's divorcing after 25 years. Amicable but aching. Love shifts, he confided during a red-eye call. But it endures. We visited separately. Me hugging Tia Rosa amid unpacked boxes. Promising. Roots regrow. Thanksgiving tested. Elmwood's table expanded. Tyler and a new beau. Shy engineer named Mark. Elias's family zooming in fractured frames. Dad carved turkey with tales of 89. Now inclusive. Back then we hit hurts. Not anymore. Toasts rang. To Riley, to returns, to rainbows in rust. Winter brought blizzards and breakthroughs. OSU's bowl bid, my MVP nod, scouts from the NFL whispering. Elias aced his thesis on queer resilience, dedicating it to my anchor. New Year's in the city again. Ball drop a metaphor. Countdown to clarity. Spring's skirmish was subtle. A teammate's coming out. Locker room tension echoing my past. I mentored him. Own it. They'll follow. They did. Pride pins proliferating. Tyler's tryout. Callback gold. Minor league deal. Celebratory bonfire where he pulled me aside. You taught forgiveness. Now, receive it. Hugs all around. Embers of old feuds ash. By summer's cusp, Elias and I plotted permanence. Grad school duo, maybe a place in Baltimore. Clash no more, he joked. Just harmony. Driving east, windows down, Springsteen's Thunder Road blasting. I realized. Kicked out forged me. Return refined me. Family team once warring, now woven. Love's the thread, American as apple pie and endless roads. Senior year was apotheosis, the summit I'd climbed incognito. OSU's campus thrummed with finals frenzy. But I surfed it steady. GPA gleaming, scouts salivating. Coach Ramirez pulled me post-practice. NFL Combine invite. Harlan. Your pro material. The words landed like a Hail Mary caught clean. Elias, on video from his Bay Area bubble, hooped. My wideouts wide open. We toasted virtually. His kombucha to my Gatorade, dreams dovetailing. Grad apps synchronized. Hopkins for us both, intertwined paths a serendipity. Interviews were interrogations of intent. Me articulating medicine's mercy for the marginalized. Elias psychology's bridge over bias. Acceptances pinged like victory bells, Full ride. His text read, emoji explosion. Mine followed, Dad's call crackling pride. Son, you're healing the world. Harlan through. Elmwood's orbit tightened. Summer home. I coached full-time. Kids dubbing me Coach Pride. One tyke, freckled firecracker named Joey, confided post-drill. I'm like you. Different. I knelt. That's your superpower. Own it. Tyler, now minor leaguer, guested sessions, autographs and anecdotes, his limp a badge. Pros ask about Elmwood grit, he said. Tell em it's heart. Elias arrived mid-July, his mom's reconciliation a quiet win, joining us for lake days. Dad taught him fly fishing, lines whipping wisdom. Patience, son. Hooks set slow. Mom baked pastelillos, Elias devouring with tales of Oakland activism. Even Coach Harlan thawed, inviting us to a booster gala. Bring the city boy. Show him real Americana. The gala was a glitter of gowns and grudges, but progress prevailed. GSA table bustling, rainbow auction items fetching fortunes. Tyler emceed, mic in hand. To clashes conquered. His nod to me sparked applause, Dad's arm heavy on my shoulder. Our boy. Fall semester, Hopkins previews loomed, but OSU's swan song demanded focus. Homecoming against Penn State. Stadium a sea of scarlet. I torched secondaries 180 yards and 2 scores. Elias flew in, jersey clad in the stands. His sign, catch this heart. Post-victory, tunnel kiss under confetti rain, cameras flashing futures. Winter wrapped in wonder. Joint Hopkins orientation. Baltimore's harbor a historic hug. We toured row houses, dreaming decor, bookshelves for Baldwin, jerseys framed. Our nest? Elias murmured, sketching floor plans on napkins. New Year's Eve. Rooftop underworks. We whispered vows. Through clashes to calm. Spring's crescendo, thesis defenses. Mine on trauma's triumph in queer athletes. Elias's on familial redemption. Defenses dazzled. Advisors beaming. Graduation day dawned drizzly, but sun broke for the ceremony. Caps airborne, diplomas clutched. Dad, Mom, Tyler, even Coach in the crowd, their cheers a chorus. Post-ceremony, Elmwood contingent converged. Backyard blowout, grill smoking, Elias's family video calling cheers. Tyler pulled me for a walk, field path familiar. Minors are grind, but good. Mark's talking rings. His grin softened. You? Docs and dreams. I nodded, arm slinging his shoulder. And you, always wingman. As dusk dipped, Elias and I slipped away, porch swing creaking confessions. From bleacher kisses to this, he said. Ring box materializing. Simple band. Engraved, evolve together. Marry me. For real. Tears blurred. Yes, 1,000. The wedding brewed by summer's end. Small, soulful, Elmwood Chapel with rainbow stoles. Dad walked me. Irony embraced. Mom dabbing eyes. Elias, tucks sharp as his wit, vows velvet. You return to me whole. I vow the same always. Tyler best man toast cracked laughs. From fumbles to forever, here's to us weirdos winning. Honeymoon hit the keys, keys jingling like keys to kingdoms. Sunsets sipped pina coladas, snorkels spotting reefs resilient. Life's coral, Elias philosophized, bleached by storms, but regrows brighter. Back to Baltimore, residency beckoned. Me in ER rotations, stitching souls. Elias counseling couples through crossroads. Weekends wandered Fells Point, crab cakes and cobblestones, building not just a home, but a haven. Years layered. Clinic openings, a dog named Scout Eagle Nod, Tyler's call up to the majors. Us in stands, screaming hoarse. Dad retired golden, volunteering at the youth center. Mom's diner added a pride plate. Clashes? They came, patient bigotries, colleague microaggressions, but we countered with community. Queer health fairs, panel spots echoing our origins. Elias's book, returned, Stories of Queer Resilience, flew off shelves, forward by me. He mended what exile marred. A decade on, Elmwood Stadium renamed Harlan Field. Not mine, but legacy's echo. We return yearly, Joey now captain, his jersey 7. Thanks, coach, he says. I wink, Fly high. Kicked out for difference. I returned remade. Family and team. Once thunderheads, now the wind beneath. Love's the greatest return. American epic. Dramatic, defiant, deeply human. Under those same cornfield skies, Elias and I walk hand in hand. Future unfolding like the best play ever called.